Just last night, interestingly enough, I was watching this Netflix special on profiling the Apollo program.
It's
And
funny.
one of the things I learned from this was that even though they had this mass of people that you're talking about, the actual Apollo astronauts themselves were intricately involved in developing the rocket that they were going to be a part of.
Mhm.
And so they ended up breaking down almost every single aspect of this into the most minute of points that they could, and each astronaut was then appointed to tackle that specific problem that they were trying to come to find a solution for to get this
Mhm.
thing built. And so perhaps one of the reasons that they were able to do the the fast-paced decision that they were with that many people was because of how they parsed the ownership of the whole program down to these micro components, which is an interesting way to think about something that large and how they were able to accomplish it.
This is why I picked them to put in the book. It is a masterclass in complex and yet very fast decision making. And the reason why the topic I think is so important is you called it out. This particular chapter is in the first third of my book. It's just like the first chapter. Okay. The average company is wasting, for each person inside of it, is wasting a full day every single week because of slow decision making, not time spent on decision making, right? There was this amazing study that was done where they polled managers and they said, "How's your decision making going effectively?" And managers, there were 1,200 of them, managers self reported that they were wasting 50% of the time that they were spending on decision making, right? Wasting unnecessary, wasted time. And you see that, and then people think, well, I knew my manager sucked at decision making. Who do you think they're wasting that time with? It's you, right? And so we need to get better and faster at it. And by unpacking the NASA example and working on some of this stuff with the clients that I work on, what I realized is if you want one tactic, and I love people to take away tactics, this is what the book is all about. If you can talk or type, you could try every tactic in my book. And here's one you can go and try. Stop listening to the podcast when it's over, go try it at work, right? The single fastest way to speed up decisions, decide who's going to decide. It's so simple. It's very hard to remember to do this. This is what NASA did incredibly well in that story. Decide who's going to decide. So, the way most decisions go is John and I get in a room and we immediately start debating the decision, right? What is it that we want to do? Do we want to turn left or do we want to turn right? You start arguing the merits of left. I argue the merits of right. We're having a strong, vigorous debate. That's fun. Great. We missed the most critical step. Who is actually going to make this decision? In the absence of knowing who's going to decide, you can't disagree because I will continually be trying to convince you that I'm right, and you will continually be trying to convince me that you're right. And by the way, that's great. We want to be doing that because we want to hear each other's perspectives, but we need a way to collapse the discussion, the debate, into a decision. And that requires a decision maker. So you might choose, we're going to take a vote, right? We have an odd number of people, or we're going to assign an odd number of people, or we're going to argue as much as we possibly want until we hit the date for the vote. And on that moment, we're going to take a vote, and then everyone's going to get a line behind it. That's how we're going to decide. Fine. Other option is we're going to pick one of us. John and I are going to argue about which way we're going to turn. It's John's decision. Super duper, right? And John lets me know, okay, I've heard what I need to hear. I'm going to make the decision now. But the most fundamental mistake that I see teams making is they dive right into the debate before they've decided who's going to decide. So the most helpful thing you can do, whether you're the CEO or an intern, doesn't matter. The moment you hear that we're starting to debate a decision, take a half a second, raise your hand, or do whatever you do in your meetings to jump in. Hey, everybody, just want to quickly clarify who's going to make this decision? Whose decision is this? And usually, what happens in that situation is it feels like it gets way worse because we don't realize who it is, or multiple people put up their hands that it's their decision. And this 5 minute debate, the 5 minute discussion around who's ultimately going to make this decision is incredibly helpful. Oftentimes, I advise people to do this, and the decision maker's not even in the room, right? What are we going to accomplish without them being here? So just taking a quick second, it seems like it's magic. It seems like it's not going to work. I promise it will. Just try it out the next time you're in a meeting, you hear a decision coming up. Hey, just want to quickly clarify who's making this decision. That is beneficial information for the entire room. Worst case scenario, it was incredibly clear. Hey, this is John's decision. And now everybody in the room is, again, been realigned that it's John's decision. It takes 5 seconds. But more often than not, we won't be sure. We'll clarify the decision maker. And that by itself is going to shave off a huge amount of the wasted decision making time that you're spending today. Just knowing who's going to decide is going to make such a big impact for you.